Welcome back to episode 10 of AyyScare Plays Front Office Football 8, Season 2. First off, I'm recording this January 1st, posting January 2nd, so Happy New Year's, everybody. We're bringing in 2022. In case you missed last episode, we did take a down year. Main reason for that is we did lose our quarterback. We chose not to re-sign him, so we were kind of down on quarterback situation. With that in mind, let's do a quick recap and then we will go ahead and get started. So, team summary. Our running game did semi-decently. We were in the top half at least. You can see, kind of like we've seen in the past, our defense really kind of kept us in most of this. You can look here and see we only scored about 20 points in maybe 5 games. So definitely rough to win games when that's your offensive situation. Couple of notes though. The young wide receiver popped off for almost 1,200 yards. So that is great. Rides has continued doing well for us. He put up another almost 1,000-yard season. Our young running back also played well last year. Not great, but I would consider this a decent season. And then our quarterback situation, most of the time we were running, which guy was it? Was it this guy? No, I don't even remember. But long story short, this guy ended up kind of coming in, and while he didn't do great, he actually did very decently. You can see his bars don't look pretty. But if we look in here, you'll see that he got 4 games played in Atlanta the season before. He played 6 games for us. Between those games, right, he has a 62% passing completion. He went for 1,500, almost 1,600 yards, 11 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Now, the sample size here is small, which is very important to keep in mind. However, based on the sample size we have, it looks like this guy's interception rate is significantly lower than what we were getting with Hines. So I'm going to look at potentially signing this guy to a longer deal. I don't know if he'll end up being like a starting quarterback for us, but depending on what we get in the draft or through free agency, he might be our best option to roll with for at least a year. So with that in mind, let's go ahead. Hop on into things. Our team performance was horrendous, so kind of what we were expecting there. All right, now, our head coach has been our head coach basically since the beginning of the series here. So, yeah, I think we brought him in second episode, I think that would have been. And it's been a mixed bag, right? Like, he came in on a bad team and then put us in playoffs 4 years straight, and then we've been on a downward spin since then. I don't know if we're going to get anything better than him. The other thing to note is that his primary focus is defense, and our defense has been playing very well. So I think that we can take last year out of the equation, right? The quarterback, we knew that it was going to be a rough year. I think the question becomes, though, is do we need to potentially switch head coaches in order to get some additional kind of bonuses to, push our team forward? Right now, I don't know that answer. Right now, I'm not going to give him an extension or a raise, but we'll see if he's still considered the top option for us here in the draft in a moment. Offensive coordinator. This was a guy that we brought in last year. I was worried about him because he hadn't taken a team to a playoff run since he was an assistant coach almost 10 seasons ago. He didn't do well. That being said, he was dealing with a crappy quarterback situation, and his main focus is wide receivers. And our wide receivers actually did have a really great year. So we'll kind of see that situation too. Below, I think that we're going to be set. So let's go ahead and hop into this. All right. So first question. Will our head coach still be there? Because I think that other teams can steal him right now. Nope, he's still top on the board, and he's top on the board by 7 points. Which leads me to believe that we probably should just keep this guy. I mean, those bars are really nice, actually, not gonna lie. He did not do well in Philadelphia as offensive coordinator. He did put, I guess that's New England, into the divisions at 12-4. Right, so it would have been 11-4-1 last year. He focuses on wide receivers, which is something that we need. Really high in those top bars, although I think our guy's pretty high in those bars as well. Yeah, he is. You know what? He's considered the most suitable. We're going to keep him around. Although, it says I can't select him. What am I missing here? Oh, I guess he still technically has 1 year on contract. Okay, so we'll skip that. That will keep him for us. All right, looks like our offensive coordinator either retired or went to another team because he's not listed here anymore. I don't remember what his name was, but I'm guessing it's possible another team ended up trying him as their head coach. I wouldn't have done that, but that gives us a kind of new situation here then. So, this guy, let's take a look at, so he's been in Tampa Bay the entire time. Really hasn't looked pretty there. Let's take a look at this guy. Not a big fan of this guy's bars. However, for offensive coordinator, he's actually been all over the place. He's had some really good years and some really bad years. This guy has no experience. And big thing is that I really like offensive and defensive coordinator to have that high play calling ability, which this guy is a little bit below 50 on. Someone like this could be interesting. Let's see his experience. So once again, he has not been really on a good team either. Wow. Okay. Let's see. This is the top guy that has a primary focus on QB, which is something that we're probably going to need. Those bars are not that promising. This guy's super young. He's only 37. He has that decent play calling, though. I'm actually partially thinking about giving this guy a shot. Let me remind myself real quick. I think that I still have the help up here. I was reading through this a little bit before recording, and I actually did learn a thing or two that I did not know when I was looking at the offensive philosophy page. But let's go look at this real quick. So West Coast will normally lean towards finesse running, short slants. Okay. And if I look at our wide receivers again, Rides doesn't really do downfield. He's more of like a route runner. So that actually probably will work out well for him. And then if we look at Jalen here, he can get downfield, but he's also good at running routes. So that actually could work out for us. Those are our two main wide receivers. Did our tight end retire? Or no, main tight end dropped in rankings. We'll see where he ended up here in a second. We'll do that after the draft. Let's give this guy a shot. Young offensive coordinator coming in. We'll see if he's able to figure things out for us. All right, in terms of assistant coach, I don't like that guy's bars. And we already have people focused on secondary. Not liking it. We're keeping our guy. And strength, we are highly at the top, so we'll roll with that. So real quick, we probably should look at the situation with the transaction log. Yep, there we go. That's the tight end that I was talking about. He did retire. Okay. So we don't have too much money to work with, which seems to be kind of a little bit of a running theme in this series so far. This guy hasn't been doing that great. I wonder what he's going to ask for in terms of contract extension. Somebody like this he doesn't have the experience though. Like, I would potentially give that guy a shot because our run defense was not all that great last year. All right, let's see here. Where is the quarterback? It's Jimmy Bush, right? I don't think he's definitely not worth franchising, but we need to make sure that we keep him on our radar. Jimmy Bush. Okay. Let's take a quick look at biggest contracts we have. Okay, doing all right. Beautiful. He's good. This guy, torn tricep, he should be back. Okay. Riley Hines, he let up a lot of sacks recently, but he also is left tackle, which means he's going up against normally their best defensive end. So that's a little bit more excusable than some of the other linemen. All right, this guy has not been doing much. He didn't do much last year. Did he get injured? What was last season? Yes, he had a serious leg injury. Okay, then he's okay on that front. Okay, so I think that really our core players here that we're paying lots of money, we are okay moving forward with. I don't see anybody here that is like a clear cut. Only thing that I do want to look at, though, in regards to that is this. Okay. Hector Keith, we're not keeping him around. He has a conflict, so let's go ahead and cut this guy. Okay, now we only have affinities. Only issue now. So we have a bunch of pissed off guys. So this guy was a red flag. Didn't do much for us, so he's off the team anyway. We have this guy who's unhappy, probably because of starting time. Yep, that's exactly what it is. We could probably trade this guy, though, so let's keep him on for a second. And then the two disgruntled guys are off the team. Okay, so only thing that we really need to look at here is Bo. So let's ticket pricing, begin free agency. All right, so before we do anything, let's try checking Bo here. Indianapolis and Detroit. Are either of those in conference? Or in division. Always forget where we're at because certain things have moved. So we're Denver. Okay, so we should be able to go to either of those. I did not mean to click print. All right, let's see here. Okay. Detroit, Indianapolis. Let's try Indianapolis. And this guy is more like a backup left tackle. He might progress to being like a potential starting worthy guy, but I don't see that happening. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get anything. I would say even fourth might be a little bit of a stretch, but let's try it. Okay. Just out of curiosity. That's too much, right? Ooh. I don't want to ask too many times, because if you add too many trades, they don't like trading with you. I would be happy in a third, especially a 3-8 for this guy. So let's just move forward with that. I don't see... There's no way he's giving me a second for that. Okay. That's cool. Okay. Let's see. I think, looking down here, I think we're second overall this year. We are. Okay. There is a quarterback at the top of the list. Paul Weston. His bars look beautiful. Question. Carolina's the only team drafting before us. Are they going to want to get him, though? Okay. They have a decent quarterback on roster. Yeah, I think that they would definitely be better off going one of those defensive ends. Let me put it this way. If I was Carolina and this was my lineup, I would be going one of those defense. Although they have two semi-decent defensive ends. They're good at tackle. They don't really have a running back. Or at least a highly rated running back. Yeah, this guy's a little bit older. Okay. I don't think Carolina will go quarterback. Let's look at how this guy's done recently. Yeah, this guy's been a starter there now for 6 years. He's overall done pretty well for them. I don't see them moving on from this guy. Okay, so I have a feeling we're going to be safe at going that quarterback, which is awesome. If that quarterback goes, though, which of these is going to be our next best option? We could definitely go something on the defensive front. Our tackle situation is a little bit interesting. Like this guy could be replaced by this guy. And something that I read in the help article that I actually didn't know is apparently your right tackle actually has I don't know how big of an impact it is, but the help article says that the right tackle does have an impact higher than the other offensive linemen on how well your running game goes. And apparently that's because in the real NFL and also in this game, there is a slight bias towards running to the right side. So, again, I don't know how much that actually impacts it, but it's at least enough that it's noted in the help articles. So that's an interesting thing that I did not know about until earlier today. And we had that really young running back who's still getting better, had a really good year last year. So, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that option. Okay, let's go through a little bit of free agency and then we'll come back to this situation. So, free agency, we have to start with our own team. A lot of these guys at the top are already contract through at least the next 2 seasons. This is the first one. I'm hoping that he does not ask for much because, I mean, he has put up 47 tackles last year. He's not a big sack guy, though, and for a left defensive end, I really like having more sacks than 2.5. Where is it? It's under Blue Book. This. All right, so right now, average defensive end is going for, he's asking up for 30, which would put him at like a top 20, basically. He's actually not even asking for that. He's basically asking for a low-end starter salary. Might sound crazy. I don't think that this guy's worth that. So I'm gonna let that guy sit. If needed, if he ends up popping off for like 8+ sacks and 50+ tackles, then we'll franchise him next season. But I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the numbers that he's been putting up. I want to give this guy a further extension, and I'm hoping that this guy will sign for something a little bit longer, because especially if we lose the other guy next season, I want this guy on standby. All right, cool. Corner, how did this guy actually do? He didn't do all that well, but he's super young. He's only 23, so we'll re-sign him for that offer. Okay, we got a number of 1 years left here. Fullback. This guy actually took a lot of our rushing attempts 2 or 3 seasons ago now. He puts up small receiving numbers, but that's average for a fullback in this game. Or this is actually probably on the better end, to be honest. And let's look at his blocking. Not too many, but let's see what he's asking for. Fullbacks tend to be cheap. Yeah, this guy's cheap. Let's keep him around. He also helps out with our special teams, or at least it looks like he could. Not the best. His endurance is horrible. Let's see what he's asking for, and we'll decide from there. Oh, he's super cheap, so we'll go ahead and extend him. We already extended him. Punter. This punter has been a first team and second team punter multiple times, so we'll go ahead and extend him. Let's see, that's the other. Or this is actually another left defensive end. This guy put up already 3.5 sacks. Let's go ahead and extend him once again, another cheap extension for us. I'm not going to extend this guy. Again, our main running back is Carpenter up here, so we should be able to swap in a secondary running back if needed. This right guard has an affinity. Decent numbers, not great, but he's not asking for much, so we'll extend him. And then that's probably good. I don't really see us worrying too much about these guys too much lower here. Go ahead and extend this guy for an extra year. This guy went for a number of sacks for us in the past because I recognize his name. Yeah, he did a number of good years for us a couple of seasons ago. He had a down year last year, but he got injured. So we'll negotiate him. Wait a second, let me look at this for a second. Yeah, it's still good for us. He's asking for a big bonus, but that's fine. It's only 2 years. All right. So with that in mind, let's take a look at 1 or 2 rounds of free agency here. Let's see if there's any quarterback that is worth looking at. Nope, only one that hit free agency was franchised. So let's look at this for a second. We could use another defensive tackle. Let's see. The game says that we need QB, tight end, defensive tackle. Okay. Tight end I would also agree with. We don't have a tight end listed on our main page here. Do we have anyone on the team right now? We do have 2. They must just be really low rated. Okay. First and foremost, I want to at least offer this guy something. Yeah, he's not asking for much. He could be a complete flop, but looking at the stats that we saw on him earlier, yeah, he's asking for, in reality, a very, very cheap deal. So, if nothing else, he could potentially be a good backup for us. So I'm going to give him an offer. And then there are a number of defensive tackles here. I'm going to let at least one of them go to see what kind of money we would be looking at for these guys. All right, so that one went for 3 years, $80 million. And honestly, his stats kind of sucked. So let's see. That's going to maybe not be all that helpful then. So this defensive tackle, not incredible numbers, but more than the last guy. Let's see what he's asking for. That is quite a bit. We do not have... Once we hopefully sign that quarterback, we'll be looking at about $50 million. We're going to have some for draft picks, some for late. So let's look at some of these lower defensive tackles. I mean, those are the top 3 bars are the ones that I really care about for a defensive tackle. So let's give an offer to this guy. Offer him $6 million signing, and keep everything else the same. That way we'll still have some money to mess with. Cool, he signed with us. And then let's just make sure that we actually land this quarterback. I wonder when he would potentially even sign this. He wasn't even on the gray sheet, so I don't know when he would potentially sign or not. If he doesn't sign in the next round or two, if he doesn't sign here, then I'm going to the draft. Okay, there we go. He did sign with us. Cool. So now let's do our draft. So if Weston is available, we're going him. And I think that there's a good chance that he's going to be available. He did really well at the combine. He is only 10% developed, but that is better than sometimes that you'll see at quarterback. So let's hope that he's available. If he ends up going at first overall, what is the next best option here? The other option is that we could potentially trade that pick out if we think that's a better option. Let's just look at the top 10 players or so. So we'll go here up. Okay, so defensive end, especially if we lose Walter here next season. If we lose him, then getting another defensive end could be worth it. We have 2 other ones that are decently rated, but left defensive end is a very key position. So that is up there on my list. Left tackle, I don't think we need to worry about. Running back, we don't need to worry about right now. Right tackle is lower on our list in terms of what we have. And I do have to say, right tackle, from that help article that I mentioned earlier, does sound like it is important for the running game. So that could be a missing piece in terms of getting Carpenter to that next level. Then if we keep going down, there's an outside linebacker, which I don't think that we really need. He might help us get some additional sacks and stuff, which is something that we've been lacking. But I don't know if that's really worth a second overall pick. And then top safety, we have a really young, strong safety in Sebastian Slaughter. And then we have Wayne Lee, who is getting up there in age, but I think that he should be able to stick it out for at least another year or two after this one. Okay, let's look at the top defensive end, or maybe both of them, and the top tackle, and then we'll make our decision. Very decent looking bars. Very decent looking bars. So those are both options, and let's look at the top right tackle here. Again, his blocking strength is a little bit low, but at least it's still around a 50, and the other two look really good. And he's really high endurance, which means he would probably be able to stay on the field the entire game. So the other thing about him is he is 32% developed, and those two defensive ends are both around 40. So the quarterback may need to ride the bench for a year. The other three could probably step in and start. But without a locked-in quarterback makes things a little bit more interesting. So we have our overall top options. We then do have pick 2-1. So let's take a stab at a couple players that might fall to there. There are actually a number of safeties and corners. This could be a chance for us to potentially land the future Wayne Lee. So let's take a look at a few of these guys. That's a strong safety. Strong. The other two will definitely go before, so okay, never mind. There's a ton of corners here. That's an interesting option. I'm not a huge fan, and he is cornerback 3, so I don't know if he'll fall to where we're drafting, but I'll still mark him. We could potentially look at wide receivers 2 and 3 down here. Ooh. All right, this guy is actually more interesting. Reginald Ferguson. Don't know if he'll fall, but we'll still mark him. I know that we have the 2 guards. Let me look at this real quick. Right now, we don't have a wonderful right guard, although I really think that our offensive line has to be one of the top in the league. Let's actually look at that real quick. I don't know how accurate this will be since we're in the middle of the off season, but let's look at it anyway. So centers, we are towards the bottom, but that score should go up. We have a young center that's supposed to get up to like a 60-something. Guards were second in the league. Tackles were somewhere around 10th. Okay. And the age on those tackles, 6, 8, 9. So actually, we don't really have a young guard. I think I said tackles a second ago. I meant guard. We don't really have a young guard. So at 2-1, maybe getting one of these guards actually wouldn't be a horrible idea. Let's interview them both. Very overrated. Okay, so we don't want that guy. Oops. Underrated. Okay, so if that guy falls, we could potentially go him 2-1. Let's see. That is a beautiful looking middle linebacker. Considered very overrated though. Okay. Take a look at a couple of these other corners. Ooh. Very, very interesting corner. Okay. I think that we have enough options now. One of these guys will probably fall to 2-1, especially that corner. I mean, there's like 6 or so corners before him. So I think we're going to be okay there. Then we have 2 in the early 3rd that are going to be a little bit more of guessing games. But let's see. At this point, we do need a tight end. I think that is something that we definitely need to fill. So let's Let's take a look at some of the lower tight ends, like maybe starting from here. Not too interesting. Really high blocking, really good route running. Not the best at the other things. Oh, we only have one interview left. Okay, let's keep going down the list then. I definitely want whoever we get to be good on the blocking bars. This is interesting because he's also a semi-decent receiver. Okay, he's basically 50s down the board. And he would more than likely fall to third round, if not further, to be honest. So, okay. I think we have a number of decent options going into the draft. We got the quarterback that played decently for us at the end of the year. So I think we're going to be in a decent position if this top guy ends up going. So here's the moment of truth. The other thing that is always a possibility that I didn't even really mention before, now I'll be honest, I didn't really even think of it, is if we look at Carolina, who is the team drafting before us. I'm right on that, right? Yeah. If we look at their team, there is a slight possibility that they will trade out of the 101 slot without another quarterback on the top here. I think certain teams would be able to, or would be willing to pay for that spot. Normally, that means that they would probably get at least 2, if not 3 first-round picks in the future. So, looking at their team, I'll be honest, I don't know their full stats and things like that, but that would be something that I would probably consider if I was them, because they at least have a quarterback that should be able to give them at least another 5 years or so. He actually just re-signed. So, we'll see. Here we go. Current selection, Carolina. They did go the quarterback. No way. No way. Okay. Well, that answers our question then. So now the question becomes, do we have faith in this team to make a run this year? Or should we see what a team would be willing to pay for the second overall slot? Without a further sample size on Jimmy Bush, I'm really worried about saying that we have a really good chance this year. I think there is a legitimate chance that we finish 10-6 and make playoffs. I think there's also a very good chance that we finish, whatever it would be, 5-11 or something like that. Okay. I want to see what other teams would be willing to go for here. I can't shop this, which does make it a little bit harder. I think there is a way. I rarely use this screen, but okay. Sometimes in this screen, which I never really use, the CPU will send you trades, but let's see here. So let me try to pick the best option in terms of who we can look at potentially trading this away to. Okay, I don't want to trade it in my division. Team needs. All right, we're opening up a bunch of stuff here. So Cincinnati's next. Cincinnati is interested in defensive tackle and tackle, which means they would probably have a lot of options regardless of what I picked. So I'm not going to bother trading back to them. Miami, very interested in defensive end. So we could potentially just trade down 2 picks. I don't know what we're going to get back in value from that, though. Normally, in order to get multiple first rounders or something, you have to trade much further down in this list. Let's see. Let's try to trade to somebody that is far away from us. So something like Washington. I think that could be good because they're fully removed from us. So I'm not too worried about them. What does Washington need? Washington. Defensive tackle, running back, tackle. So they would have a number of options here. They would probably be willing to pay a lot. Let's take a quick look at their team. Yeah, I could, especially a running back situation, which there are 2 highly rated up here. All right, let's see what Washington would be willing to pay then. I think that gives us a good starting point. All right. I want your first and your next year first and the year after that second. Let's see real quick if he'll give me 3 firsts. No. Okay. But he is willing to do this, which for us, I don't think, without more information on the quarterback, I don't want to spend the capital here. I think this is going to give us a much better long-term reward. So we're doing it. All right. Let's see what Washington goes with that pick. Washington ends up going tackle. Okay. All right, we'll speed things up to our first pick then. Whoa, okay. All right. I'm not going to lie, that did not go as I was expecting. Okay, so this defensive end was 3rd on the list, and somebody that I was considering going at 2-2. So the fact that he is still sitting here means one of 2 things. Either it's a complete steal, and our coaching staff is going to be delighted, or no other team saw in him what we did. I don't know. I feel like he has a very decent shot at coming in and doing something. I mean, realistically, left defensive end, one of these guys will probably end up switching over to right defensive end, but our defensive front is not horrible, so I don't know how much it's going to boost us, but I don't know. Looking at the list, the only other real thing that we could do here, I think, is we could do one of these corners that we didn't interview. Neither of them look great. We could go down to the top guard on the board, who I think was the top guard regardless. I don't know if that's really beneficial. Or we could go for this corner, who, once again, I'm not sure on. And I think that the guard and corner are going to still be there next round. I mean, we have another pick in like 3 picks or something, 5 picks, I think it is. So let's just go with top on the board. Let's do it. I mean, nothing else comes from this. We will get our 2 first rounders next episode. So, and then a second rounder the year after. So yeah. Now both players I mentioned actually did end up going off the board. So that's a little bit unfortunate. It doesn't look like there's any other player towards the top of this list that we interviewed. So now, unfortunately, this actually becomes quite a guessing game. Okay. All right. Well, let's look at top tight ends, because we know that we need a tight end. We didn't interview this guy. His bars look really good, though. Same with this guy. So there's two tight ends that we could go. We did like this guy, though, and we can probably get him a number of rounds later. So let's look at some of these quarterbacks. Now, once again, we did not interview any of them. Someone like this is of interest to me. I don't know. I think that somebody like this could definitely at least ride our bench for a year or two, if not more. So I'm going to mark him for a second. That guy didn't look bad either. Huh. There's actually a number of interesting options here. I'm marking all three of those. This guy's a very short passing guy, not big on his accuracy. All right, there are three quarterbacks there that are honestly very interesting to me, though. That being said, one of them should fall at least another round. So, top players on the board right now, looks like is the defensive end here. There is a defensive tackle. And then I think this tight end, I think, is our best option. Is he considered the top tight end if I go this way? Clayton Parker. Is that the... Yeah. Okay, we're going him. All right, let's go take a look at the quarterbacks again. All three are still sitting there. We have 2 picks this round, I think, right? Yeah, we have 2 that are almost back-to-back. So let's look at some wideouts then. That's a very interesting option. Archie Duffy. Let's mark him. It's a fast guy. Which right now, let me look back here. Real quick, they're already showing in here. Defensive end is looking beautiful. Tight end is not looking great, but is what it is. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the 2-quarter wideouts here. This guy's really good at getting downfield, and I think this guy is more of a route guy. Yeah. Okay. All right. By the way, I'm just skipping this guy because his strength is a 5, which I could be wrong on this. I think that means that they're very injury prone. If I'm wrong on that, please let me know. But that's the main reason that I just basically skipped over him. Okay. This guy looks like he could be a good mix between our 2 current wide receivers. So let's go ahead and add him in. Okay, I feel like we do need to take one of these quarterbacks. I think these quarterbacks are all a little bit of shots in the dark. All right, we'll start out by comparing these 2, and then we'll add McLeod. So, I think Ty Lindquist, overall, his bars are more appealing. He's not good at third down passing, but everything else is basically above 50. This guy has a couple of bars that are lower, but he does have higher short passing, much higher third down passing. But no, I think between these 2, Ty Lindquist does look like the better option. So then we'll compare Lindquist to McLeod. And just trying to see which one, I think Ty Lindquist actually could be a more interesting prospect. Yeah, Ty Lindquist's lower half bars, accuracy and down, are basically all tied or better than McLeod. The only thing Ty Lindquist isn't really marked well in is third down passing. We didn't interview either of these guys. We might end up going both of them, to be honest. But I think we need to lock in Ty Lindquist and see what happens. That being said, Ty Lindquist is rated lower, but we're still going in. Okay, McLeod is still available. So let's go ahead and lock in both. We now have 3 young quarterbacks, and they'll duke it out for the next couple of seasons. If none of them work out, hopefully we'll end up tanking one season and be able to pick from there. Are they already in here? They're not already in here. Okay, cool. Only thing that we really need to fill now is corner and safety, and then we're basically free picking. So, and we could get those in late free agency, but let's go ahead and look at who's still available. I like this guy's bars. Not the best, but I like them. Let's mark him. He's a small guy, though. He's only 5'6". Not sure how that's going to play out. I mean, most wide receivers, at least in this game, and I think it's true in real life too, where somewhere around that 6 foot mark, you have some guys that are, like 6'4", but most of them are in that like 6 foot range. Okay, that's my favorite corner. Let's look at safeties real quick. No. That's not horrible. Alexis Brady. We'll see if Alexis Brady falls till the next one. We're going this corner for now, though. That corner size does worry me. But you can't get everything you want, right? And you never know. Sometimes, there's a possibility that guy ends up balling out for us. Now we have a free pick. At this point, we should probably just go top remaining on the board, which looks like this outside linebacker, Sebastian Burrows, who actually looks very, very valid. So, yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Let's look at free agency again. Before we do that real quick, let's take a look at where all of the rookies ranked. So defensive end, looking very nice. That final pick is actually the next top rated, and looks like they will probably not start this year, but they have a potential. That tight end is not the best, but decent. McLeod is considered better rated, but right now he's only a 9. And then, where's the other? Archie Duffy is down here. Ty Lindquist is looking even worse. So, let's look at this real quick. So we have 4 quarterbacks going in here. Jimmy Bush is our top option, and the only one with a current estimate over 10. The other 3 are going to be battling it out. Hopefully we'll see some growth throughout the season amongst these 4. Now that we've done that, let's take a quick look at anybody that fell through the draft. Hey, there's a kicker named Gus Edwards. So look at that. Holy crap, his bars are high. His bars are really high, but he honestly is not the most accurate kicker. I think that our kicker is actually more accurate than this guy. 82% overall, basically 96. Let's take a quick look at ours. Yeah, so our kicker is definitely a little bit more accurate, even though his bars are lower, which, as a quick note on that, there's a good chance that this guy is also kicking like a bunch from beyond 50 and crap like that. So is a little bit of a unfair, connection there. All right, let's see. There's a guard here that might have slipped through. We'll try to make sure that he locks in with us. There is an older tight end, which might be worth bringing on. We don't really have money for that, though. We do have the money for it, but then we have money for nothing else and nothing mid-season, so I'm not doing it. This guy went for 90 tackles last season, and he's asking for almost nothing. We'll go ahead and loop him in. Why not? Our run defense last year did horribly, so definitely not against bringing in guys like this. Young wide receiver, we'll give him an offer. And with that, I want to keep a little bit of money available. So that's probably going to be about it. TJ Prickard. His bars are kind of not like a great combination. I mean, hole recognition I've heard is the most important bar for a running back, but outside of that, like, it really doesn't combine well with anything here, if that makes sense. Like, he's really good at avoiding drops, but he sucks at route running. He sucks at third down catching. So I don't know, that seems like a little bit of a mix of a player, I guess is the best way to put it. Okay. I think that is going to be it. We'll look at this one other running back here. This running back actually is a little bit more interesting to me. We will offer this guy something. All right. Oops, I clicked no. There we go. All right. A couple of other players that we're hoping to add on. We'll see if any sign with us. All right. Inside linebacker signed with us. And then the other three all signed. Cool. So the real question really becomes is, do any of these quarterbacks end up being worth anything? We'll also see the one thing that we need to be careful with is our coaching staff might end up trying to sign a veteran to come in. If that happens, we have to cut them because we want to make sure that our guys are actually given a chance. Let's actually look at that real quick. Okay, cool. So let's say we're running with it. It looks like actually McLeod already got cut. Okay, so McLeod's already gone. Looks like right now we're giving our quarterback that we drafted last episode a chance in preseason, but it looks like Jimmy Bush is going to be our starter, and then Ty Lindquist is currently looking to be basically practice squad and third string. So with this, we'll see how it rolls. I'm actually surprised that my voice has lasted this long. I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but earlier this afternoon, I was taking a sip of a drink and it got caught in my airway, and I spent 30 minutes coughing. And I still feel it in my throat a little bit, but yeah, side rant. All right, so we lost the first game of the season. Let's take a quick look at who actually ended up starting for us. It does look like it was Jimmy Bush. That being said, our starting our main running back already got injured. He had 9 attempts for 73 yards before getting injured, though. And it looks like he'll be back in 2 weeks. So it's not the end of the world. Let's take a quick look-see here. Looks like Jimmy Bush did get the start. And he didn't do well. We'll leave it at that. Well, we can't blame him off of one game. We'll give this the season. We don't really have an option. All right, we put up 0 points. That's not good. All right. We at least put up some points that time. We'll run one more week here. All right, so we're sitting at 0-4. So Where is Carpenter? Is Carpenter's back? Is actually doing fantastically, so that's good so far. Jimmy Bush is doing horrendously, absolutely horrendously, and this is what I was talking about in terms of sample size. Like between those 2 past years, you would think, okay, he has potential, and then put in the starting role, he has been doing horribly. We're going to give him probably 2 more weeks, and then we'll probably cut him. Although, I mean, I guess at that point, I'm just hoping that Nichols or Ty end up getting some starting experience. I know that those are both going to be rough too, though. I will give it another 2 weeks. We didn't actually play this week. This was our bye week. Going up against Tennessee here. So we did take the W against Tennessee. And again, I mean, we put up 34, but this is once again our defense coming up big because we held Tennessee to 9. And then we got crushed by Houston. Okay. So we're sitting at 1-5. Do we have key injuries? Let's take a look at a couple of things here. Injury report. There we go. All right, so we do have a couple of players on injury, including our punter. But outside of him, none of these guys are super key. You could say this guy's key, but he's also a rookie, so like we should have defensive ends even with him out. Our main center is out, which is important. I'm not going to say it's not, but we don't have any. I wouldn't say we have any absolutely key injuries right now. He's not looking really any better. How does this actually look compared to this? So running game's doing decently. Even though we're throwing a crap ton of interceptions, our offensive stats are actually not horrible. And then once again, our defense is doing their job. All right, we're giving Bush half the season, so that gives him 2 more games. And right now he's at 5 TDs to 14 interceptions. Let's see what happens here. All right, we put up another 1-digit games there. All right, he is off. This is not going well. We got to be careful here because our coaching staff will almost certainly bring in another free agent, which I don't want. I want to get one of these 2 guys starting experience. Let's see. Yeah, we won't lose much. Most of this was salary, not bonus, which should be okay for us. Okay. Jimmy Bush, it was worth a try, my man. Did not work out, but it was worth a try. All right. Big question now. Who ends up starting? Okay, so we're giving Nichols the starting opportunity now. Ty Lindquist is now in as our quarterback 2. In his first... In his first game, he threw 5 interceptions. Although, wait. Yeah, that was all in one game. Okay. So he threw 5 interceptions, and somehow we only lost 27-17. So thank you, defense. Okay. I gotta say that, I mean, this guy's bars actually look semi-decent. What the hell do ties look like? Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. We won by putting up 16 points. We lost. We beat Cincinnati. So now we're 3 weeks in, and now we're starting ties. So what happened to Nichols? He got a pulled groin. Okay. So Ty is also not doing all that great. Definitely putting up more interceptions. But you know what? Like, you need a couple of games to really get like at least a semi-decent baseline. So we'll see here. This could be the game for bottom pick. I know Pittsburgh is actually at 2-11. So let's see here. All right, going up against Detroit. We beat Detroit, and whoever started for us put up 31 points. So it was Ty. Okay, I mean, he's coming back from his first couple of games there. All right. And then final game of the season. We got smashed. All right. It looks like we are in the running for potentially having first pick again. And big question here, how did Washington finish 9-7? Because we technically have their first round pick next year. So their finishing also matters for us. Quite a bit, actually. Because if we end up with like 2 top 16 picks, that would be awesome. Okay, they did make playoffs, which means that's going to be a little bit of a deeper pick for us. They lost? They did lose. Okay. So that means we'll probably have their pick, which will be like a 20-something again. Right? Game this year, Kansas City versus Tampa Bay. That in today's world could actually, I guess, potentially happen, right? I believe so. Tampa Bay takes it. All right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and save here. And then we just got to take a quick look around, see kind of what the hell happened. So, Ty Lindquist came in as a third-round rookie, came in and honestly, this isn't horrible. That's my honest opinion, right? Like, I mean, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so he started in 5 games. In the final 3, he put up at least 200 passing yards. He was putting up touchdowns through the air. He was putting up interceptions, but again, he's a rookie. His bars suck. He came in mid-season. So, I don't know. I think we're still going to definitely try to draft a quarterback, but I don't know. I feel like this could have gone much worse. All right. Outside of that, Herb Carpenter almost put up 1,000 yards on the ground, 5 touchdowns. Our backup, running back 2, put up another 650. They both averaged 4.71, which is good. Jalen put up another 1,000-yard season. Rides put up another 700-plus yard season. Is Parker the one that we drafted this year? He is. Okay. So as a rookie tight end, he put up 445 yards through the air. That's pretty darn good. Okay. And then in terms of defense, it looks like we had a number of players that had decent sack numbers. It looks like this guy, this is our first round pick a couple of seasons ago. I remember this guy. He could be at 87 tackles, 41 assists, 8.5 sacks, 13 hurries, and 9 quarterback knockdowns. This guy could definitely be looking at being on the awards list this year. Same with this guy, although his numbers are a little bit lower, so probably not. Yeah, looking at this, and again, we can't really see like players like offensive linemen in here, but I think Pasco here definitely stands a chance. Let's take a quick look. What am I doing? Awards, season awards. Oh, look at that. He actually got Defensive Player of the Year. Let's go, Donnie Pasco. Let's go, man. That's awesome. All right. And then Colton Hanson also got second team defensive tackle. So well done to Donnie Pasco. Just out of curiosity, how did quarterback do? He did not get off practice squad. Okay. Now, I'm going to be honest, in a best case scenario, this is actually what you want, right? Like in the real world, normally it's like the worst teams in the league that go for quarterback in like the top 10 picks. Most of them really don't have a quarterback, so they're throwing the rookie in, and it tends to be a little bit of a disaster normally. So the fact that this guy's going to have like, it looks like at least a year, if not 2 or 3 years to really develop and then take over when Eugene Atkins either retires or they might end up trading him. I mean, I think this Carolina team is doing Weston Pohl here right. Like, I think that they're setting him up for success. So, well done to them. I wish that we had gotten him, but I'll be honest, him going to Carolina is probably a better situation for him. We'll find our quarterback, and we'll beat them in the playoffs eventually. All right, so with that in mind, let's just take one last look at our team. See if there's anything here kind of worth looking at or mentioning. What happened to Wayne Lee here? Okay, let's see. He had a little bit of a knee problem towards the end, but should be good there. High ankle sprain. He'll be back next year. Cool. Yeah. I think, obviously, biggest question right now is how are we filling that void that is quarterback? But we'll find the right guy. If nothing else, Ty Lindquist here, in my opinion, actually stepped in as a rookie and looked presentable. But, final thing that we need to look at, because it will actually be very important for next year. So Pittsburgh, us, Dallas. So we're going to have a top 3 pick. And then we will also have that pick from Washington. So that will end up... Yeah, so we're going to have a top 3 pick, and then we're going to have like a pick somewhere around probably 24 or so. I'm pumped about it. I mean, in the end, that should give us a good shot at quarterback. Dallas and Pittsburgh. Let's take one quick look at them. Sorry, I'm kind of dragging this out, but I'm just very interested. Okay, Dallas drastically needs a quarterback. And then, wow, I just completely blanked. It was Dallas and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has their guy, although he was franchised. So we'll see that there's a slight chance that this Sean Smith guy ends up going on free agency. So that is another interesting potential option for us. We'll see, though. If you guys stuck it out, thank you so much. I'll see you guys for the next episode. Happy New Year's. And until then, AyyScare out.